Welcome to Bravo Bricks, or I should say welcome back if you're returning. Today I'm going to be taking you on a tour of the Orlando Brick Convention. I believe this is the second time that they've come to town and the first time for me going to see the convention. And we got to see some familiar faces, like for example, we have Lego Master Season 2 winner right here, and we've got Lego Master Season 4 winner, Duck Bricks' dad, right there. So the winner of Lego Master's dad, right there. I mean, that's kind of major celebrity status, and I think definitely worth mentioning. So first off, I just want to go over briefly, the convention itself was incredibly loud, so I thought I would just kind of show you some video and go over the footage after the fact. So up first, we've got Lego Master Season 2, Mark and Steven. They've got their whole little section back here, and they've got natural people made out of like wood elements. They've got a mushroom kingdom. Right here was the Castle Kingdom set that they had created. And then right here is sort of a Monkey Kids City expansion on the set that came out a couple years ago with, of course, that subway that goes through. I didn't stay for this part right here, but they did have a Lego Masters winner panel. So we've got Duck Bricks and Christopher right there, as well as Mark and Steven, and it was kind of cool to see them and hear from them. Next, we've got some Lego Technic pinball. I mean, I can't really call it anything else other than magic. So they had constant fixes going on there all day, but it was very neat. Next up, we have a World War II memorial mock style build. So Indiana Jones on the far left, and lots of Nazis, and the best kind of Nazi, the dead Nazi. We've also got some stormtroopers next to it, so kind of funny, the symbolism between stormtroopers and Nazis, but won't get into that here. Next, we've got some incredibly amazing builds. Now, I talked to this guy briefly. I do not remember his name for the life of me. I am sorry. Lots of the builds that he has do use illegal building techniques, but it's just for show and just for display, so who cares? But this is some of the most beautiful piece-on-piece action that I saw in the entire convention. It looked loosely based off of the elves theme that retired quite a few years back. And to be honest, it was just kind of completely encapsulating, or captivating, I should say. But it reminded me a little bit of D&D, a smidgens. Next, we've got some dinosaurs. Do you know the way? We got Batman Cave. I mean, this convention really did have it all. Kind of the coolest thing about this was that it wasn't just adults showing off their beautiful, masterful builds. It also kind of incorporated some kids' builds, and as you'll see later in the video, those kids can build. But anyways, going through some of these sets that we're seeing in front of us, they've got tons of animals. This one I really enjoyed because it was like little historical, so it talks about like the Aztec, the Cheyenne tribes, but it was very historical based, and as a social studies teacher, that was incredibly cool to me. And they're really small builds. It's not like it had to be the most massive thing on the planet in order to kind of wow you. I mean, even these little things here just really got me excited. It's Helm's Deep with lots of brittle brown figures, Uruk-hai. It looks like a lot of this mock was kind of based off of the set that came out in 2013, but that's okay because they greatly expanded on it. They added lots of rock work. They added pretty much everything in front of the walls and expanded on it quite a bit. Next, we've got a World War II style medical vehicle, a Land Rover, and we've got an old yellow Dodge vehicle. It says right there, 1940s Dodge Power Wagon. And it's kind of cool to see the diversity of the builds that were at this convention because they had everything from train setups to vehicles to fantasy to just pure Technic show-off skills. And so that was really cool to see during this whole convention, is just the sheer volume of things that people can come up with. I really like this little display here because it reminds me a lot of the office buildings down here in Florida. And next to it, of course, we have lots of fun vehicles. But if you look all the way in the back, even closer, to my heart is a Disney World reference. So that is a tram from the TTC or the parking lots at Disney World, and that of course was beyond cool to see. My brother used to ride in the back of those when he worked for Disney, and he would yell cuss words at all the guests, but that's besides the point. Next we have a beautiful Vikings mock, and that of course I didn't get enough footage of, but regardless, we've got next up another World War II setup with a dead civilian, it looked like. Next we have a woolly mammoth, of course showing the Ice Age, which is very cool. That woolly mammoth only showed up in one Lego set ever, and that animal is very sought after nowadays, that woolly mammoth. Next, if you're religious, you got Jesus Christ right there. Jesus Bricks, I think his name was. Kind of cool if you're into that sort of thing. Next, we have just a beautiful waterfall piece. LeBron James. Just kidding, that's not LeBron James. That is just a mask. This right here, I believe, was religious as well, but I don't remember exactly what part of religion it was trying to depict. But I want to know how they got their hands on all those soldiers, those Roman soldier pieces, because I know those can fetch a really high price. And I love the build of their palm trees back there. I wish I had asked the guy how he achieved that, but truth be told, I didn't see the person that owned those builds standing right there. More amazing rock work, lots of figures. I was always blown away by all the mocks and displays that had tons and tons of figures. And speaking of figures, we've got lots of Phase 1 clone troopers, if you're into that sort of thing. I don't know exactly what scene from Star Wars that was showing. Next, we've got Adventure Time. Adventure Time. I didn't ever watch that show, so any of these displays here don't mean a darn tootin' thing to me, but you can see that the builder definitely had some skill that they put to great use. Next is a ship from Prometheus. I believe Prometheus was a spin-off from the Alien franchise, or maybe they combined them later on. I honestly don't know. I just like Alien, the original, and a couple others after that. There's a beautiful, beautiful red dragon here. It definitely did not look like it could stand on its own, so it's got those lovely black stands under it. And this one really blew me away, the Apumek, because it had so many small, intricate little details. Speaking of details, moving over is Equinox Bricks, and she was very lovely to talk to, and she had a school idea for a modular, and she put that to great use right next to a Lego store, which of course would not go well for me as a teacher, but it made me think that the modular line could use some sort of education-based building, maybe a college, university, that sort of thing. That might be kind of fun in the future, but of course, you know, we'll always have to wait until about October or before that to hear about all the modulars that come out the following January. Equinox Bricks was very kind enough to lift up the roof and floors of her builds in order to show off all the tiny details. There's her card there. You can scan the QR code. I put it back because I didn't want to waste it, but now it's on the internet forever. Inside her buildings, they were incredibly detailed. Very, very cool. There was, I just want to note, a huge line around me and in front of me, behind me, all that sort of fun stuff. So I almost kind of felt rushed to go somewhat quickly because I didn't want to be in the way of other people. So we got Bonkles. And weirdly enough, there were not a whole lot of people looking at the Bonkles. I was never into them when they were out. I was jealous of a friend who had lots of Bonkles, and I have no idea what he ended up doing with. But this kid right here blew me away because the kid on the right has this amazing Eye of Sauron Tower Barad-dûr build, and it's got so many details packed in there, and it's got so many bricks. I mean, I want to know what this mom does for work. Number one, what does she do for work? And number two, are they hiring? Because if I could afford this many bricks for my future kid or future me who likes to play like a kid, then bada bing bada boom, we are cooking with peanut oil because this kid can cook. the build had so many fun little character references, even outside of the realm of Lord of the Rings. And so he did a really great job. And you can tell he's a real fan because he's got on the One Ring t-shirt that they sold at Kohl's like 2 years ago. So that's how you know he's legit. We've got a little Goblin Town reference from The Hobbit. And this is all made by the same kid, by the way. Right next door is the Shire Hobbiton, Bilbo's house, with a couple figures there lined up. And then there's a theme that I wish would make a comeback right next door, and that would be Pharaoh's Quest. They had so many cool adventurer-style sets that only lasted, I think, like a single wave, and they were so, so neat. Now, this is the part, I'll be honest, I probably spent the most amount of time at. It is pure, blissful, medieval beauty. We have the most beautiful medieval display in the entire building. And of course we had that massive goat off to the left real quick, but this medieval display is gorgeous, and it's got so many details in it, and it was full of color. It incorporated lots of the sets that are already out. It had rebuilds of sets that exist, and the more you look, the more you find. So I mean, even looking back at this video now, I didn't even notice the river that ran through it right here. But it had lots of carts. It didn't have a whole lot of figures, but it had definitely enough to make it feel like it was nice and alive. And the lady that made the whole display was kind of dressed up in medieval gear, or I should say like Renaissance festival gear. And I tried to show you just how big this convention was. And so the whole center of the area is full of the people that are building their displays, and they're fixing things as it crumples throughout the day. But what kind of shocked me about this build is that it's all on Mill's plate. And I suppose that would make sense if you are taking this to lots of different conventions and stuff, because I believe the same convention people that ran this one immediately went up for the Chicago brick convention right after this. So it was like a week after this convention here. They had a beautiful castle set up. You could see Magisto's workshop in the background, and you can see some rebuilds of the medieval blacksmith kind of spread throughout. And I wish that I had gotten a few closer up shots of this, because the details in the set are mind-blowing. And really the shots that I'm giving you here do not give it any sort of justice. But you can kind of see, like right here in the center is a Creator 3-in-1 medieval castle that they have used an alternate build of, and then they've sort of put greenery and shrubs and trees all around it. And then if you are a fan of Heath Ledger's Knight's Tale, you've got a jousting session, and that is just a beautiful little area right there. And if you go all the way to the side, you can kind of see just how long and big this build is. And I really can't tell you just how impressive it was to see in the flesh. We've got some original sets, we've got some older sets, we got Star Wars stuff, we've got some unique mocks and things that aren't necessarily tied to an IP. And then there's also stuff that maybe it is attached to an IP, I just don't know what the references are or what the media it comes from is. So like we've got dinosaurs with guns on it. I mean, if that's like a video game or a movie or something, I've definitely not seen it. It sounds like something I would enjoy, but it's not something that I'm super aware of. The dinosaurs were kind of cool to see, because after going to this convention, it made me think like, oh, why am I only building things from sets that I purchase? I should really be building my own stuff. And so I have started doing a few of those things. We've got beautiful scenes from Harry Potter. Of course, we have Umbridge's demise with Hagrid's brother Grawp. If you remember that from the Order of the Phoenix. Next, we have a scene from the Goblet of Fire, and I love the way that they've incorporated the lights into the two beams touching each other. Touching each other. But it's a beautiful graveyard scene. Next up, we've got a scene from Harry Potter and the Chamber of Secrets. How on earth they got a hold of that many spiders without getting bitten is beyond me. But they did a great job adding lights to this set and making the Forbidden Forest look really menacing. Speaking of Forbidden Forest, we've got a scene from The Prisoner of Azkaban with spinning dementors and, of course, Sirius Black getting the soul sucked out of him in a inappropriate way, if you know what I mean. And we've got some more fun builds. Now, these builds here were built by the lovely gentleman that you can see in the background there with the very, very bright shirts. And it makes sense that their builds should be equally as bright. I was a big fan of that guy's glasses. I wish I had said something, but alas, social nervousness kicked in, and I just did not talk to him. But this city that they've got is mostly sets that are already released by Lego, but they put them on Mills plates. What I really like is that they have a whole little parade route going on with the Chinese New Year set that retired last year. And they've also got the new Lego semi-truck down there in the corner. Now, this was like 2 or 3 days after July 1st, so they really went to the store, grabbed that truck, built it, and said, all right, put it in the city. And so that was very cool to see. The tour of this Orlando Brick Convention, I'll be honest, it doesn't do any justice seeing it on the screen. You really should come check it out. Or if you have any sort of brick convention equivalent in your area, definitely check that out, because I think that's a little set in the bottom from Supernatural. Correct me if I'm wrong. But you never know what you're going to see, and there's all sorts of people that are showing off their sets, and there were some booths where you could buy retired sets in particular. So right in front of me right now is a scene from the Haunted Mansion, which is very cool. But you could buy retired sets, you could buy sets that are currently on sale. My favorite part was looking at all the custom printed pieces, as well as the minifigures that people had collected and put them on sale. But something I do want to note about the convention that's kind of a not amazing part of the convention, shall we say, is that some of the pricing that they have on sets that are currently out or recently retired are criminal. I mean, they had a $20 set that retired like last year that really wasn't all that popular for like $100. I understand they got to make their money somehow, but that was kind of a bummer to see some of the retired sets like, oh wow, maybe I'll buy them at the current value that it's at online, but lo and behold, they were not so good on the prices. We're looking right in front of us at Typhoon Lagoon. It's very cool, and I love that they have a little sign that says, please take photos, #GFlug, so that must be the builder. We've got Donkey Kong sets, we've got Pitfall, lots of classic video game scenes, and so that's really cool to see. I'm not sure if that's the Donkey Kong from the sets that are currently out now, or if that was like a custom. The Pitfall thing was very, very simple, but very cool to see as well. We've got some mid to late 90s space sets all set up in a beautiful display, and they've added some lights there, which make it pop even more. So if you are going to present a set at a Lego convention, note to self, always add lights, because it drew me in, it made me look even longer, made me wonder how long it took to add all of those lighting things and the connectors and wires and all that. I think that is going to do it for today's video. Thank you so much for checking in on this, and I'll have part 2 uploaded sometime later this week. Thank you so much for watching, and thank you especially to my special, amazing supporters. I'll catch you in the next one. Bye-bye.